Welcome to the Find Your Voice, Change Your Life podcast with psychologist Dr. Doreen Downing. Listen in as Doreen interviews people who felt they didn't have a voice or who suffered extreme speaking anxiety. You'll hear stories about how they struggled to speak up, what they did to find their authentic voice, and the confidence they now feel to speak up and make an impact. If you want to get started right away to find your voice, download Doreen's free 7-step guide to fearless speaking at doreen7steps.com. And now, here is Doreen.
Hi, this is Dr. Doreen Downing, and I am so excited to introduce you today to somebody who's already, if you're watching, you get to see her radiance, her joy, her smile, her heart. I've been touched by Pascale. Hello.
Hi, Doreen. Thank you so much for having me here. Truly, this is my honor.
Yes, well, the show is about finding your voice, and I invite guests who feel like at some point in their life, either early on or maybe when they started to enter the work world, there were difficulties in feeling like they could express themselves comfortably and powerfully. And here you are today, having done your journey, or as we all say, we're always learning. But let me read the bio that I got for you so people get a good sense right away of who you are nowadays. Pascale Cook-Fernandes has a multifaceted background aimed at empowering women to discover their clarity and potential. At the heart of her mission is the desire to support women coaches, healers, and speakers to turn their PhD in life into a thriving business. Pascale understands the importance of holistic well-being as she combines spiritual insight, coaching expertise, and practical business foundations to guide women toward profound transformations. I love that, profound transformations. I'm just going to say that again because I think that's part of why you and I are meeting today. Owner and CEO at Women Finding Clarity, Pascale's own PhD in life includes her coaching certification, Reiki master, podcast host, a degree in teaching, and her 23-year, she's still counting, she says, marriage and mom to 3 amazing young adults. On her podcast, Women Finding Clarity, Pascale hosts women who have used their own inspirational stories and life lessons to create a successful business. Her mission is align, elevate, and thrive together, one conversation at a time. If I didn't say anything else but that sense of aligning, bringing ourselves to a new level, elevate, and thrive. And I love the together. I love the one conversation at a time. That nugget feels like, okay, folks, we learned what we needed today already.
You're so sweet. It's just so different to hear it in someone else's voice, right? When I say it at the end of every podcast episode, it's my voice and I know it. But to hear you say it, it covers me in chills.
Oh, yes. I know exactly what you mean in the podcasts I've been on when I hear myself reflected back to me. I go, oh, yay. When I was reading it too, it was just like, oh, good. I love that. The phrases that you use and the way you describe yourself and really acknowledging. I didn't know that you were a Reiki master, and we can talk more about that later. I usually like to start with early life experience, just get a sense of where did she grow up and what was the challenge immediately, because it seems like most of us do have some arrival story, if not immediately, then somewhere down the line, or it's just the context. Hello, this is a society, and we're young little ones, girls, in this world, and we're learning how to be expressed, confident. So,
Yeah.
anything you could say that goes back to give us a snapshot of early life for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I grew up in Maryland and my mom was a stay-at-home mom. My dad God bless him, worked 2 jobs so she could stay home with us. That was something that was very important to them, that my mom was the one to raise us, right? But growing up in a certain generation, I'm a Gen X. As a whole, it seems that our generation was raised to not have a voice. It was do as I say, it was be seen and not heard. You don't get an opinion here. This is what we say. And so for me, that really stifled my voice. I didn't know that all along. It was just once I was older and I started to really dig into, do I have a voice? Why don't I use my voice? All of those things started to come to light. And it's like an onion, right? It's layer by layer. You don't just one day have it all figured out.
Yes. Thank you for beginning the conversation like that. It seemed normal. Growing up in our society is our parents provide us with a home and we've got school. So everything lines up, right? And you're learning every day, you're learning what it means to be human and what it means to be a female. Were How many children in your family?
So there were 4 when I was growing up, and it was 1 boy and 3 girls.
Ah,
I was the sensitive one, right? I was always told I was too sensitive. I was always told that I cried too much. It was to the point where my family would make fun of me and tease me because I was crying again.
uh-huh.
And oh, so hurtful and makes you so self-conscious. In my adult world and in my adult mind, I can look back and think they were trying to toughen me up, right? But now I feel that my sensitivity is a superpower and
Yes.
I embrace it.
I just, for people just listening to us, I just threw up my arms because I just said like a huge yes. That sense of superpower, our sensitivity. I relate so much to what you just said about being labeled as somebody who's too sensitive. I'm so glad you're a force for those sensitive souls that there is. What is that book? I forget her name, but Quiet in a Noisy World. There's a book about that. The power now that I think we as women are saying, ah, I love my sensitivity because it makes me more alive. Yes, I hope people are watching because this is fun to be with you, our jesters and
It's so fun. I'm such an expressive person. You would think I was Italian, but I'm not.
yes,
But,
I am
you are. There you go. So you
partly.
get it.
Yes.
But the other part of that in growing up is I was also told I was too loud, right?
Oh,
Too loud. And, I remember specifically as early as 2nd grade, sleeping over at a friend's house and her parents saying, "Shh, Pascale, don't talk so loud." Maybe it's because there were 4 of us. And then my parents each had 5 siblings, and there were always a lot of people around. So maybe that's what used to be a criticism. Now I can speak up and I can speak out and I can use my voice for the greater good. Again, I embrace that as another superpower because I can use it when I need it.
oh, it's wonderful to have that range, to have the quiet, soft, which I feel inside of you, being able to go deep and into the listening realm of open, but also to gather whatever is needed to speak in a way that has more force. Well, I think quiet has a force too, of course, but I get what you're saying, the degrees of expression that are strong, soft, all these variations on voice. You're a good storyteller. More stories as you go through, let's say, early adulthood or even high school. How did you find yourself? How do we begin questioning? Because, like you said, looking back is when I started to have more perspective.
Yeah, sure. Growing up, our parents definitely encouraged us to try new things, play sports. My sister went to dance, all of that. I played softball. I was on a bowling league. I think I was the worst one on the bowling league, but I didn't care. It was fun. But then in high school, starting in elementary school, I learned an instrument. I played the flute. In high school, I became decently well at it, and I was in marching band. I auditioned to be the drum major in marching band, the person that conducts the group, right, out on the field. I usually tried to be hidden from my peers and shrink down. So for me, that was a really big stretch to audition for that and then stand up on a box so everyone can see you. And yet it just felt so aligned that I was supposed to be there that it was worth the risk. And I just had to go and do it. My parents were very supportive of that. My friends were supportive of it. I found it to be a beautiful experience of what can happen when you really stretch and put yourself out there.
Yes. That reminds me of my own high school days where I was head of all the cheerleaders and pom-pom girls. It was an elected position, school spirit commissioner. I look back and I said, when did my fear really start? I think it set in more as I went off to Berkeley and found arenas where there was more people smarter, it felt like, and I just got scared and I can't live up to these smart people. Anyway, I love that idea that you were listening to something and found yourself in a leader, sounds like leadership, right?
Yeah.
Right?
And it was amazing. I loved it. For me, high school's hard. High school is hard for almost every single person.
Yeah.
You're teased, you're bullied, you're made fun of, all the things at various points, right? And so that those are my best memories of high school. That time when I was a drum major and my husband and my kids tease me and make fun of me, I just laugh along now because I don't care. I embrace it. It was part of my journey and who I am. I loved it so much.
I love getting to know you. I love these little snapshots and details. Hearing a thread that, to me, Pascale, already it's like in my heart feels like I'm feeling it too. This thread of goodness. Somehow, you were gifted with pure goodness.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, yeah, I feel it. I'm touched already by this.
I received that and it just made me go quiet there for a moment. It truly made me catch my breath for you to say that. So I appreciate that. I think we all strive to be the best people we can be, whatever that looks like. And really, the 98% of it is all about self validation. But that 2% of the time, when someone else can validate you and sincerely validate you, it truly can just make you catch your breath. So thank you for that. I truly appreciate it.
A moment.
A moment.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, the reason why I also relate to what you just said is they say love yourself first and then you'll find love. Well, I held love off forever and didn't let anybody get too close to me. And without going into my story in detail, but the man that finally I married to, I feel like I'm loved every single moment of every single day. I have to tell you, it does make a difference. It helps me be more loving. It's more than just love yourself. It's like, boy, when you get it, and when it's even more than 2%, and you breathe it in. I so appreciate you breathing in my reflection of your inner brilliance and your jewel inside. Thank you.
Mhm. You're so beautiful. I resonate so deeply with what you're saying. I didn't wait until later in life to get married, but I will say that my husband truly, when I met him, I was not a meditator. I was not particularly spiritual. I was religious, I would say. But when I met him, he was a meditator. So it opened up this whole other part of me that I think was waiting almost for permission to open up because I remember after my grandmother passed away, I was probably about 12 years old, she came to me one night and sat on the foot of my bed, her spirit, and spoke to me. And we had a conversation. And I wish I knew then to write down what we talked about, because I can't remember it at all. When I met my husband and he started to introduce me to meditation and this bigger conversation around empathy and what that really means, it just opened up a space for all of that to shine through and start to grow within me. So that gave me permission to explore even that part of myself and use my voice in a very different way for souls who can't necessarily use their physical voice anymore. I know I didn't intend to talk about this today, but it just came up organically that our relationships, especially our romantic relationships, if we're blessed enough, can help us become, can't they?
Oh, yes. Oh, boy. You and I are just vibrating on the same wavelength right now. It's really so wonderful to listen out of you the more that you're talking about when it comes to voice. Because traditionally you think you got to speak up in situations or on the stage, but you're talking about voice that comes from within, not just your words, but your presence, your essence. That's what we're talking about. At least that's what I strive to help people have, that sense of real truth vibrating through their whole body, so that the voice then carries not just the words, but the feeling and the sensation of the communication.
That's so beautifully said, because it becomes a very different conversation when you're not only hearing the sound, but you're also leaning in and tuning into the energy, the feeling that's coming with the words, right? It's what allows you to feel the chills all over, isn't it? Right. It's what allows you to feel yourself warm up from the inside out, all of those things. I just want to add that using your voice gives someone else permission to use theirs.
Yes. I am so in love already. And I do need to take a break. And I'm so excited about coming back, because I know you're going to be talking about a launch that's coming up, a program that you offer. And I want people to hang out for just a few minutes more while we take a break.
If you want to get started right away to find your voice, download Doreen's free 7-step guide to fearless speaking at doreen7steps.com.
Hi, we're back with Pascale Cook-Fernandes, a wonderful example of the voice that comes from an inner depth that radiates and brings not only words and nuggets of information and profound transformation to us, but also the quality that I look for and feel, the whole Maya Angelou thing where she says you leave people with a feeling as opposed to just the words. And so far today, if you haven't heard, if you're just tuning in now, please go back to the beginning, because Pascale and I have had a profound transformational moment together already. So here we are back. Thank you. Well, took a journey, some snapshots of your journey to where you are now.
Yeah, beautiful. So one of the things that I generally point to is that I used to be a teacher. And I remember when I was going to college, one of the things that we were told in the classroom setting was when the students are becoming too loud, you don't yell so they can hear you, you whisper so they listen. So I raised my children with that in mind. I tried not to yell. I tried to get softer so they would lean in and so they would listen. I think that there's this misnomer that using our voice means standing up and shouting, and that's not always necessarily the case. Doreen, your voice is beautiful and you're soft spoken, and but you're so confident in what you're saying. And that shines over any volume that could ever be there. That is one tidbit that I took from college and I carried through teaching, owning my own business, being a mother, is get quiet so people lean in and listen.
What a beautiful message. I've never heard it, actually, in all my years. I love it.
I love that. In my business, what I do is I support women entrepreneurs to use their life's PhD to build a thriving and impactful business.
Mhm.
Part of that is doing exactly what you just asked me to do here today, is to look back. What life lessons did I learn along the way? How are those impacting me now? Then I support those entrepreneurs to bring that into their business so their business is truly and authentically them.
The integration of self and life and making it something that I'm trying to catch it, the words in the, I mean, you've said it, so I don't need to say it back, but I'm just trying to get it, the whole idea of authentic business. We're in the middle of our businesses. We're in our element. What you're doing is helping people be fully in all of who they are in their business and have the business be an expression of that. I think I just got it right.
You 100% got it. Absolutely. I just want to add that everyone talks about work-life balance. For me, that pits work and life against each other. So I like to say work-life integration, because when you can build your business in such a way that it truly supports the life that you're building and the life that you want to build, you don't need work-life balance. Your work, your business life, and your personal life just become one.
I love that phrase too. I just heard somebody say harmony. What you're talking about is that all elements of our life, like music, it's harmonious,
Yes.
right? So, yeah, I think I understand that too. Well, tell us about what's coming up, the launch, and anything specifically for us to know so that those of us who have stayed, or those of you, my listeners, who have stayed and are still here with us and want to get closer to Pascale and learn more from her. What's up next?
Thank you for asking. As a mom, I don't specifically market to only moms. I market to women entrepreneurs, but I do have an event coming up in June, and it is called Mompreneur Mastery. It's a 3-day event, 60 minutes each day. Each day, what we're going to do is jumpstart your journey to success by mastering the mompreneur mindset, doing exactly what we just talked about, that blending of work and life, right? On day 2, we're going to dive into practical strategies for balancing motherhood and business. And then on day 3, we're going to explore more advanced strategies for scaling your mompreneur business while maintaining that harmony that we just discussed. It is happening on June 18th, 19th, and 20th. They can find out more. Whoever is interested can find out more by visiting my website.
And your website. It will be in the show notes, but if people are listening, let's give it to them now.
Absolutely. It's womenfindingclarity.com. And whilst you're there learning more information, I also have a free gift on my homepage that you're welcome to download. It's called The 7 Chakras of Feminine Business.
Wow. I want to do a whole nother episode. Chakras. We didn't get a chance
Yes.
to talk about Reiki or chakras this time around, but I think there's more for us in the future. I think people are going to say, Doreen, we want her back.
I would love that. And I would be honored. I know that you're going to be on my podcast, and I just can't wait.
Yeah, I'm glad we get to play together again. Thank you, Pascale, for showing up and shining your light and giving us such heartful, deep inspiration today. Thank you.
I just want to say one more quick appreciation for being here, and for anyone who's listening. I just want to reconfirm, Doreen, that you're such a beautiful light in the world. Your spirit truly. I'm picturing a horse that's galloping across a beautiful pasture, but you're just such a grounded yet free spirit. And that's what I see in you. I truly appreciate you holding the space for me here today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being with us today for this episode of Find Your Voice, Change Your Life. Each person Doreen interviews shares what has helped them find their voice. You can learn from these guests and find your voice so you can be confident to speak up and speak out. And remember to download Doreen's free 7-step guide to fearless speaking at doreen7steps.com. We hope you enjoyed the show and will return next time. Until then, goodbye for now.